A single solar array powering one AI data center requires 300 metric tons of silver, and the world has been running a supply deficit for 6 straight years. Meanwhile, developers paying $200 a month for one of the most advanced AI coding tools on the planet are voluntarily downgrading to older versions because the new ones are literally crashing their computers. Today, the AI boom is colliding with physical reality on two very different fronts, and the implications are enormous. Let's get into it. Claude Code is a command-line AI coding assistant built by Anthropic, the San Francisco AI company behind the Claude family of language models. For developers, Claude Code has become one of the most powerful tools in the industry. It reads your codebase, searches through files, writes code and executes commands, all from your terminal. At its peak in late 2025 and early January of this year, it was widely considered the best AI coding assistant available, especially when paired with Anthropic's top-tier Opus model. Developers were raving about it. Then, in late January 2026, things started to go wrong. First, developers noticed that Claude Code's reasoning quality seemed to degrade. The tool started performing operations on codebases without clearly showing what it was doing, hidden operations that made developers uneasy about trusting it with their production code. But the real backlash came on February 11th. Today, actually, when version February 1st 20 shipped a change that replaced detailed file read outputs and search pattern results with generic summary lines. Instead of showing exactly which files it read and what patterns it searched for, developers now saw single lines like read 3 files or searched for 1 pattern. For developers who rely on that transparency to verify what the AI is doing inside their codebase, this was a devastating regression, and it got worse. Version 2.1.27 shipped with a critical memory leak that caused the application to balloon from around 460 megabytes of RAM to 7.5 gigabytes within 20 seconds of sending a single message, triggering system crashes and out-of-memory kills across macOS and Linux. In one reported case, a Claude Code process allocated 93 gigabytes of heap memory. 19 official incidents were logged on Anthropic's status page in just 2 weeks, and over 1,400 GitHub issues were opened. The response from paying customers has been swift. Many developers on the $200 a month max plan are now pinning their installations to version February 1st 19, the last version before the regressions began, or rolling back to February 1st 25 to avoid the memory leak. They're essentially paying premium prices for software they have to manually freeze in time to keep functional. This story matters because it exposes a fundamental tension in the AI tools market that affects everyone building with these products. Claude Code isn't some free beta experiment. It's a premium product on a premium plan, and developers are paying top dollar for reliability. When those developers are forced to pin to old versions just to maintain basic functionality, something is structurally broken in how these tools are being shipped. The broader pattern here is that AI companies are under enormous competitive pressure. Anthropic is racing against OpenAI, Google, and a growing field of open-source competitors. That pressure creates an incentive to ship fast. New features, new versions, new capabilities, sometimes at the expense of stability and quality assurance. The memory leak in version 2.1.27 is a textbook example. A bug that causes a 93 gigabyte memory allocation should never make it to production. That's not a nuanced edge case. That's a 20-second crash. And the transparency issue cuts even deeper. When an AI coding tool hides what it's doing inside your codebase, it's not just a UX inconvenience, it's a trust violation. Developers need to verify AI-generated changes. They need to see what files were read, what was modified, what was searched. Removing that visibility without offering even a toggle to restore it signals a company prioritizing polish over the needs of its most serious users. This is the maturity curve of AI tools playing out in real time. The honeymoon phase is over. The thing to watch here is how Anthropic responds. They've acknowledged some of these issues on GitHub, and a verbose mode flag does exist to restore some output detail. But the real question is whether Anthropic implements proper version management, automated rollback alerts, better QA gating before production releases, and giving paying customers more control over their update cadence. If they don't, expect developers to start seriously evaluating alternatives. The AI coding tool market is crowded, and loyalty evaporates fast when the product breaks. So that's the story of AI tools breaking down on the software side. But there's another side to the AI boom that almost nobody in tech is talking about, and it has nothing to do with code quality or version numbers. It has to do with a physical metal that you can hold in your hand. Because it turns out the massive infrastructure build-out required to power AI doesn't just strain software teams. It's straining the Earth's supply of silver. Bank of America, specifically their head of metals research, Michael Widmer, has issued what might be the most dramatic commodity price target of the year, $309 per ounce for silver. To put that in perspective, silver is currently trading around $85 per ounce, after an extraordinary run that saw it briefly break $100 in late January, before a sharp sell-off. Even at today's prices, silver has more than doubled from where it was a year ago. But Bank of America's target implies the rally could nearly quadruple from here. So what's driving this call? The thesis rests on three converging forces. First, AI data centers. The current wave of AI infrastructure spending, estimated at over $700 billion in planned capital expenditure, requires enormous amounts of electricity. And increasingly hyperscale data center operators are choosing solar energy to power these facilities. Over the past year, data centers in the United States have chosen solar 5 times more often than nuclear for new power capacity. Here's where silver comes in. A single 500 megawatt solar array, the kind needed to power just one hyperscale AI data center, requires approximately 300 metric tons of silver. Silver is the most electrically conductive metal on the periodic table, and it's a critical component in photovoltaic cells. Second, structural supply deficits. The silver market is now entering its 6th consecutive year of producing less silver than the world consumes. According to the Silver Institute, the cumulative deficit over the past 5 years has reached nearly 820 million ounces. Inventories are at multi-decade lows. And because 72% of primary silver is produced as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper and zinc, producers can't just ramp up production in response to higher prices. New mines take 7 to 15 years to develop. Third, the gold-silver ratio. Historically, when gold rallies hard, and gold is currently trading near $5,000 an ounce, silver eventually compresses the ratio and outperforms dramatically. Widmer's $309 target is based on the ratio hitting 14 to 1, which last occurred during the 1980 Hunt brothers squeeze. Even the more conservative scenario, using the 2011 ratio low of 32 to 1, yields a target of roughly $135. Most people think of the AI boom as a purely digital phenomenon, software, models, chips. But this story reveals an analog bottleneck that could reshape investment portfolios and supply chains for years to come. When tech companies announce hundreds of billions in AI spending, very few people trace that capital all the way down to the raw materials. But the physics are unavoidable. You cannot build solar-powered AI data centers at scale without consuming massive quantities of silver. And the supply situation is genuinely constrained. This isn't speculative hype. The Silver Institute, the industry's own research body, has documented 5 consecutive years of deficits, with a 6th now projected. Fresnillo, the world's largest primary silver producer, actually cut its 2026 production guidance. Even the world's biggest miners can't keep up. Now it's important to be clear-eyed here. Bank of America's $309 target is their extreme bull case, not a base case. Other analysts have targets ranging from $49 on the low end to $150 from Citigroup. The range is enormous, which tells you the uncertainty is real. But even the conservative estimates imply significant upside from current levels, and the structural demand story from AI and solar is not going away. If anything, it's accelerating. This is the kind of second-order effect of the AI build-out that most people in tech completely miss. The numbers to watch are silver inventory levels and data center power procurement announcements. Every time a major cloud provider signs a new solar power purchase agreement for a data center, that's a future draw on silver supply. Also watch Fresnillo's quarterly production reports and the Silver Institute's annual supply-demand update. If the deficit widens for a 6th consecutive year while AI capex continues to accelerate, the bull case only gets stronger. The physical constraint is real, and no amount of software can mine silver faster. The AI revolution is moving fast, but whether it's shipping stable code or sourcing the raw materials to keep the lights on, the bottlenecks are real and they're only getting tighter. The question is, who's building for that reality, and who's just riding the hype? If you found this useful, subscribe. We cover AI and tech news here every single day. See you in the next one.